Alright buddy, welcome back to another gaming pickups video. It was a good week, a really good week. It hasn't been this good in a while, and so a lot of things to show, a lot of things I picked up on the cheap, thankfully, because hit up my favorite store, Goodwill, and my favorite pawn shop, and so certainly got some great pickups for a great price. So I'm going to start with my usual pawn shop I hit up, and I picked up some pretty good items. Games I didn't have in my collection I was really looking forward to. And a couple things I was kind of hoping to pick up. There were a couple of games for my kids I thought about, and unfortunately it came up empty. I'll start with those first, just because, you know, I'm always on the lookout. And I found something really cool that I found at Goodwill for my youngest daughter, and I think she's going to like it a lot. So the two games I was hoping to pick up were Ghostbusters and Jumpstart Escape from Adventure Island. So, Ghostbusters, I already picked this up in a prior game pickup video, I think it was. Actually, no. I picked up before I even had a YouTube channel for the PS3 for my son, who loves the Ghostbusters reboot and also the original Ghostbuster ones. And, you know, I've been picking up a lot more Wii games whenever I can, just because there's a lot of games that only come out on the Wii. And just because they might not be like high-profile AAA games and so forth, but I want to really give it a try. Unfortunately, both of these were empty cases, and so at the pawn shop they sell games for like $2. So would someone really not pay $2 to pick these up? So unfortunately, its case, you know, they're empty, but they do have the manuals for both of them. So if I find the games down the road sometime, you know, just disc only in good condition, at least I have got cases for them that I could use later. If not, I could use them as replacement cases and just save the inserts for a rainy day. Let's see, a couple other ones. So I picked up The Walking Dead Survival Instincts for the PS3. So I've never actually played any single Walking Dead games at all. I really enjoy the show. You know, I've watched up to the very last episode available. You can watch on Netflix, and I had it on cable beforehand, so I haven't seen whatever the latest video is. But I've enjoyed this series, watching it with my wife, but I never picked up any of the games. But I thought for $2, I'll give this a try. It takes place actually as a prequel to the TV show. It's back, supposedly, you play as Daryl alongside with your brother Merle in an unforgivable prelude to the TV series. So the graphics look really good, and I mean, gosh, Daryl has that crossbow. I mean, who doesn't want to shoot that crossbow? I mean, that's like one of the most iconic, I guess, weapons in the Walking Dead series, probably second perhaps to Michonne's katana. So figure for $2, I'll give it a try. Looks like it has whatever the minimalist manuals that they had back in the days, and the disc was in good shape, so looking forward to giving it a try. Especially having that M Classic, trying to see these PS3 games that came out in 720p, seeing them beefed up to 1080p, just in the best possible aspect that looks, you know, looks like a great opportunity. Last two games were some throwback ones. So one was Pilotwings, and the other one was Super Off-Road the Baja for Super Nintendo. Both were $2 a piece. And I thought I had Pilotwings back in the days, but when I was going through the games I thought I had, I didn't have Pilotwings. I never played it beforehand. It's probably why I don't own it. And so I picked it up, looking forward to giving it a try and seeing how this initial game, you know, Pilotwings, how it's evolved through time. So that's one of the things I really like to do when I can, is play the first game in a series and then play them in order. There were a few times where, unfortunately, time and circumstance and money, I couldn't do that. Like, for instance, I played Lunar 2 Eternal Blue before I played Lunar Silver Star story. So it just happened to be that I picked up Lunar 2 for like a great price at a pawn shop, you know, way back in the days, and then I went back to play the Silver Star story. So it was what it was. Alright, so G-Dubs, Goodwill. Let's see. It was a big bag. And so one item, so Majesco has famously done their Cooking Mama series, so I guess they had a branch out game called Babysitting Mama. So there's this huge game. Look at this. It's got a baby. The game's right there. And you pretty much take care of a baby. And you put the Wii nunchuck in the back. There's a little pouch for it, and so I guess it tells position wise what you're doing and such. So, you know, it looks like it was never even touched. So I figured, you know, I think it was like it was $5, $4.99. However, they had a 50% off sale for all green tagged items. So Goodwill will do that. You go into the store, you'll see different colored labels, but if you go there, you might find something that you're interested in for a decent price. Like they had, I think, the day I went, they had the Dead Rising 3 for the Xbox One. It was disc only, and the disc was listed at $6.99, but it'll have been half off from that. So I think this is pretty neat. I'm looking forward to seeing my girls giving it a try and seeing how it goes, and see if my boys, I do any mischief trying to do crazy stuff with it, which is what boys will do. Let's see. Another game I picked up was Super Monkey Ball Deluxe for the PS2. So I have it for the Xbox, original Xbox, as part of a Super Monkey Ball, and there was a Sonic game that went with it. However, I never tried the PS2 one until after picking this up this past week. And so it plays pretty good. It looks very similar, maybe not as clear and sharp as the Xbox version, but that's really how it went. The Xbox, usually the graphics look better. So, but for it's a great game. It's nice condition as far as with the manual and the disc. So for $2, I was definitely up for it. Next one, I have a couple. So, Guitar Hero. So you might think, why did you pick up Guitar Hero? This game is mad old. So it was in good condition. It was $1.99. So I've got all the Guitar Hero games, almost all the other cases and such where they had like add-on music and so forth. But I never had the original Guitar Hero. Some of my buddies back when I was in school, they had it. Go play with them for a bit. And so I ended up picking up Guitar Hero 2 and Rock Band and the other heroes and Guitar Hero ones on the Xbox 360. I never picked up for the Wii or the PS3 and such, but yeah, I always wondered whether or not they'd make Guitar Hero and port it to either the 360 and the PS3, and they never did. So I figured, well, if I can find a cheap enough PS2 guitar, I've got this to go along with it, and so then I can play everything through up until this generation, just because it's kind of when it died. Some would argue that it was last gen when it died, but I've really heard mixed reviews when it comes to the Rock Band and so forth, Guitar Hero for this generation. So I kind of let it go. I didn't bother trying to pick up peripherals for this gen. So for $1.99, I figured why not. And then I've picked up, let's see, a couple other neat ones. So for the PC, I picked up Diablo, $1.99. So this is actually the Windows 95 NT version. So I'm sure there's probably an updated one that's like Windows 98 or Windows 7 where there's a code to go along with it. This is old school days where you didn't need a code. So I had like StarCraft and some of the Warcraft. I never played the original Diablo. And so I figured for $1.99, might not give it a try and see how it is. I did play Diablo 3 with my wife on the PS4. It was a great co-op game. If you haven't played it, as far as co-op goes, it's a lot of fun. Reminds me back when playing like Baldur's Gate, Dark Alliance, as couch co-op. Great game, easy to get into, easy to pause from. Beautiful graphics, great sound, great voice acting. So I figured let's see where it all started from, right? I play games out of order sometimes. Hey, if they had Diablo, unfortunately I didn't pick up Diablo for the PlayStation 1. I know it came out initially on it was a console release for it. I never got around to picking it up. So sorry, maybe someday I'll look to see for the PS1 version. Next one was NBA Street Volume 3 for the original Xbox. Yet another $1.99 pickup. I enjoy playing the Street games a little bit from time to time. I never really was into this series per se. But it's just one of these things to where in this day and age that we live in, there is minimal competition when it comes to NBA. It's all 2K, and we've seen as far as 2K's monetization practices and such. There was that big sale that took place for NBA 2K19 where it was like $2.99 for like Xbox One. What happened when people got it? They were bombarded with commercials for non-sports related stuff that was of little to no interest, where essentially they hijacked it. I wanted to try, hey, there's no street games like this on current gen. I figured why not give it a try? So I figured put it on the Xbox, give it a whirl. So $1.99, why not? And then the last game from my trip to Goodwill that I was pretty excited to find, just because we don't find stuff this old, Afterburner 2 for the Sega Genesis. It was almost complete. I thought it was. I took a look at it, and you take a look, the cartridge is this beautiful shape. It has the obligatory pull-out poster, but there was no manual. So, but for $6.99, I was really happy. They had a Sonic the Hedgehog 2 for the Sega Genesis as well, and it was in mint condition. But I thought to myself, I already have it. I don't need to pay $6.99 for it. So let someone else pick it up if they don't have it. But yeah, Afterburner 2. So it was funny though, because when I picked it up and showed it to my kids, like, oh, it's just like that game we play on the Xbox 360. And they played Afterburner Climax, right? That was the Sega, I think it was the Lindenberg arcade hardware, which is commensurate with the Xbox 360 hardware that came out last gen. And so they've had a chance to play a little Afterburner, so I can show them what it was based upon. So, you know, certainly I like to play the original Afterburner, play Afterburner 2, and see how it progresses. So it should be a lot of fun. And then last but not least, I got a bunch of accessories. So a ton. And they were anywhere ranging between $3 and less, and some of them were even half off. So I got this Xbox 360 controller for $3. It was white. It didn't have the backing, but I had extra backing from before. And one of the things is that I have quite a few Xbox 360 controllers. I've gone through one or two of them. Certainly one of them had a bad left thumbstick. And I was trying to fix it, and unfortunately I was not able to. And it was actually my first Xbox 360 controller that came with my Xbox 360 system I got back January of 2009. And so I wanted to have another white controller because I had several black controllers. I had a Halo controller. And so I was able to pick this up, worked perfectly fine. I was super happy. And to go along with it, I was able to pick up, although kind of dingy, is this definitely faded wired controller. So it was missing the attachment. So I actually had gotten some other controller from Goodwill. It ended up not working, but it had the breakaway cable portion that plugs in the USB cord. And so when I was playing this, I was playing Castlevania Lords of Shadows from my Steam account, and it kept glitching out, like it wasn't making a good connection. And if you take a look at this, it looks pretty ghetto, right? Take a look at the rubber band there. I noticed that when I would wiggle the cord, it would either connect or disconnect, and you'd see it based upon the face icon where it light up green, just like your regular standard wireless Xbox 360 controller. But when I put this piece of rubber, as ghetto as that is, it kept connecting the entire time, and I played for probably a good hour plus. You know, you could definitely pour in quite a bit of time in Castlevania Lords of Shadows. Great voice acting with Patrick Stewart. It's one game series I really wish that they would have made an HD remake or remaster for this generation, just because, you know, the Castlevania releases as far as this generation have been pretty much just rehashes of old stuff. The only thing that's really new as far as Castlevania would be the Bloodstained series, which is not really true Castlevania, but still is the closest thing we have to it. So I know there's not trying to take anything away from the Metroidvania style games that come out. There's been a ton that have come out this generation, but you know, as far as my experience with Castlevania was going back to original Castlevania on the NES. So I definitely wanted to play something and see how the series evolved, and I love the 3D versions. So, all right, more controllers. So here's a third-party PS2 controller wired. It was $2.99, half off. Another one as well, another GameStop one. Test them out; they work just fine. If you remember from my initial video, I picked up a like 4-player adapter for the PS2 as a third-party one. I think it's by Pelican, and I figured I know I've got 2 PS2 controllers that I can plug in, but I wanted to get some additional ones so I can see what games are multiplayer and try to make the most of it. So I figured, well, Goodwill usually is probably the best place to find cheap controllers, especially like 2 gens ago. So there's those 2. Let's see, I also got an extra Xbox 360 brick. I had a 360 that I got for really cheap, and it didn't have a brick, and so this is an additional brick. It was $2.99. So I also had a AV cable. So it's a basic RCA jack, which is junk. I've got several of them. Yeah, it's 360 unless you have one of those earlier versions doesn't have HDMI output, which unfortunately I do have one of those. There are better options than just plain old RCA cables. Stay away from those. All right, I found one that's pretty neat. This is official Sony. It was a 4-player adapter. This is for the original PlayStation 1, and it's rang up for like 99 cents for me, which was pretty neat. I don't have this for the PS1. I'm not sure how many games took advantage of it. I'd like to take a look to see if there's like a good Bomberman game on the PS1. So if there is one, let me know. Make some recommendations as far as 4-player good games for PS1. I'm all ears. And then last, well, actually almost last, 99-cent Wii U power adapter. So I see like at pawn shops all the time where they'll just have the console itself, the Wii U, no control pad, you know, no power supply. and I see them for like $60 or less. You know, I know if you're looking for a Wii U, I know GameStop has a sale right now for the Zelda version, $89.99. So I have the white regular version that I think was 8 gigabytes or 16 gigabytes, whatever minimal amount it was, that I got, you know, a couple years ago. I've been thinking about getting a second Wii U because I don't like to have just a single system if I can help it, just because I hate single point failure. So I figured, well, if I find another system for the cheap, at least I got a very inexpensive alternative as far as a power adapter, because typically you sell for like $20 plus like at GameStop. So, and then last was a PlayStation Move controller for $2.99, a motion controller. These things sell for a pretty penny, and so I was pretty happy finding for $2.99 because I know there's several good gun games for the PS3 that I'd like to give a try and compare and contrast how it plays. I have one of those, you know, third-party adapters where you slide this on and it connects somewhere and you can use this as a trigger and everything works hunky-dory. But I also do have the Time Crisis kit that has the gun as well as the game. So I like to see how they play out. Maybe play some two-player where one player plays with this, the other one plays with the gun, and see how that goes. And that was almost it. There's actually one more item I did pick up. Let me go reach for it. And, you know, usually I don't try to pick up, like, controllers specifically for the PC. Like, I did pick up that wired Xbox 360 controller just because, one, I play on 360, secondly, for Steam games, I like to do that. But I didn't really have a whole lot of games that would use this controller. However, I noticed that supposedly it also works on like the PlayStation consoles. So I'm really curious to see how it works on PlayStation consoles as well as perhaps the 360. And that is this gigantic Thrustmaster controller. It is T-Flight Hotus X version 2. So, I mean, this thing is pretty huge. It feels very firm, very stable. Thrustmaster is a great brand. I really love the Ace Combat series. I haven't played them all yet. However, they are, you know, loads of fun from playing for them. I've always used just your regular game controller. So when I played on the PS2, it was a regular PS2 controller. I played on the 360, it was a regular 360 controller. So I always want to see what would it be like to play it with an actual flight stick. So we'll find out pretty soon. So thanks for tuning in. I look forward to giving some of these a try and giving some follow-ups on it. So I might just do a couple of individual reviews on some of these. Perhaps bring some of my kids on for their thoughts on the babysitting mama with the doll, because I've never seen that beforehand. And then also try out some of the flight games I own with the Thrustmaster controller. Say, hey, how's it work on PS4 or PS3? Of course, on the PC, the 360, etc. So thanks for tuning in. If you like what you watched, go ahead and click to subscribe. If you have any comments, positive or negative, I'm happy to take a look to see how I can make the channel better. And I appreciate it. Thanks for stopping by. Take care.